When were the Alice Bailey books transmitted to her? Alice Bailey wrote over a 30-year period from November 1919 to November 1949. On screen you'll see a list of the books, when they were transmitted and when they were published, and which ones were purely DK's work and which ones were purely the work of Alice Bailey. It's almost impossible to make sense of the Alice Bailey books unless you know the following. Alice Bailey wrote 24 books, but only 19 of them were telepathically transmitted to her from the Master Jwal Khul. The Master Jwal Khul is a 5th degree initiate who is a member of the ashram of the Chohan Kuthumi. A Chohan is someone who has taken the 6th initiation. Alice Bailey is also a member of the ashram of Kuthumi. Alice Bailey was on loan to the Master DK to write down the material DK was tasked with giving out. One of the books, called Light of the Soul, was written by Alice Bailey with DK providing the Sanskrit to English translation and also checking with him as to the meaning of the sutras. 4 of the books Alice Bailey wrote herself with no help from the Master DK. The other thing readers often don't take into account is when the material in a particular book was received by Alice Bailey. Many of the books were written over many years. The early books, Initiation Human and Solar, Occult Meditation, and A Treatise on Cosmic Fire, were clearly written as full books from start to end. Much of the other material Alice Bailey received from DK seemed to be on a variety of subjects and was only later gathered up to form books on specific topics. Discipleship in the New Age Volume 2 was transmitted to Alice Bailey and written down between January 1940 and December 1949. Externalization of the Hierarchy was written between March 1934 and October 1949. Because this information is not clearly presented in the books and is not easily available, people often take pieces of information out of context. So something written in 1922 could be applied to 1945 or some other time. There are also many instances of abrogation in the teachings where an earlier statement is superseded by a later one. To make sense of this transmitted material, it is essential to know when it was transmitted to Alice Bailey and written down, and also when it was first published, because there can be wide differences between the 2 dates. One final thought, seeing as several of the books were edited and published after Alice Bailey's death, how do we know whether information was removed or modified from the original manuscripts or not?